target date. Macron falls backward. Liz Truss to iron EU deal out before French elections. Brussels is keen to wrap up its ongoing Brexit battle this year, which could signal an early win for Liz Truss, who takes over the tough negotiations from Lord David Frost. The European Union could hand Britain a huge win early on this year as Brussels scrambles to wrap up the ongoing Brexit negotiations. Political expert Marc Roche told BBC Dateline that Liz Truss could be the one to finish off the Brexit rose. Mr. Roche, who writes for the French weekly Le Point, said the EU was keen to wrap up talks before the French presidential elections. With Liz Truss taking over from Lord David Frost in the French election, BBC host Shaun Ley questioned whether a deal could be struck. He asked, "Is it possible for a reset of the UK-EU relationship and a more positive one?" Mr. Roche started off by lashing out at Lord Frost's legacy in Brussels. The expert claimed that the Europeans loathed Lord Frost even more than Boris Johnson. He said, "Well, good riddance that Frost has gone. He was hated in Brussels. He was an ideologue. He was saying something different in private and then in public. He was unemotional, he was a cold fish." Liz Truss could be the one to finish Brexit because she is a pragmatist, I think. There is also a lot of goodwill on the European side to solve the issue of Northern Ireland and migrants because Europe wants to move on. There will be a French president, there is a new chancellor in Germany, and there are a lot of challenges to be met and Brexit is at the end of it. Boris Johnson appointed Ms. Truss on December 19 while keeping her foreign and equalities duties intact. Mr. Roche is not the only one to claim an early Brexit deal could be struck. Simon Coveney, Ireland's foreign minister, insisting that negotiations over the Northern Ireland Protocol, a long-standing issue, can drift on for months. Mr. Coveney urged a conclusion to the talks by February, before elections in Northern Ireland. DUP leader Sir Geoffrey Donaldson has called on Ms. Truss to provide a clear date for ending the talks. Mr. Roche also predicted that Valérie Pécresse will beat Emmanuel Macron if the right-wing Les Républicains candidate makes it into the second round. Analysts say Ms. Pécresse poses a formidable threat to the president as she targets his voters on the center ground of French politics. Mr. Roche said, "She is a traditional right-wing Gaullist and Macron will lose, because part of the left will go for a Gaullist. Macron is hated by the left because he is seen as a president of the rich." Emmanuel Macron has declared the year 2022 must be a turning point for Europe as France took over the rotating presidency of the European Union. In a New Year's Eve national address, the French president hailed the EU's role during the COVID-19 crisis and announced an ambitious agenda for the bloc that could also serve as domestic campaign for re-election. He vowed that "You can count on my complete commitment to ensure that this period, which comes around every 13 years for France, is a time of progress for you." The centrist, who made his Europhile views a key part of his campaign when winning the presidency in 2017, is hoping it will again serve him in elections scheduled for April. The EU presidency gives him a welcome platform to put his European record to the forefront and differentiate himself from his rivals and bring new proposals, new ideas to the table. Prominence on the international stage has also long been a popular move for any French president. "The French like nothing more than the image or impression of France being at the controls," said Pierre Sellot, a former diplomat at the French mission to the EU. Sébastien Maillard, director of the Jacques Delors Institute, a pro-EU think tank based in Paris, said Macron will also face pressure to deliver after having ramped up expectations. He can't get to the first round of the presidential election on 10th of April without having obtained some results from the European presidency, Maillard said. That's the challenge for him, but it can also be a real opportunity. European leaders are set to meet in Paris on 10 to 11 March, which could be a chance for them to agree on a major reform of the bloc's budget rules. Much will depend on Germany's new chancellor, Olaf Scholz, whose coalition government is seen as skeptical on budget reforms, but supportive of Macron's agenda. Budget reforms,